Good morning, magical women. It's Elizabeth Eleanor, and we are doing pause today. How are you? We're going to be talking about the art of intuitive listening. So, this is a beautiful topic because we've been talking in our Facebook group about what it would be like when people are telepathic. We are moving into a new frequency, everyone. I hope you are aware of that. We have a new level of consciousness available to us, and some things are really shifting and changing. Good morning, Sorrel. Now you've got me. Now you've got me confused as to which way I'm going to say it. Sorrel. No, Sorrel. Sorry, hun. I'm just going to check to see if I can watch on here. I'd love for you to put in the comments and say hi that you're watching and listening. You may be, dealing with kids or doing something else, but I'd love for you to say hi. And how are you? How are you this morning? How have you experienced your morning this morning? So we're going to talk about the art of intuitive listening. Now, where I was going after I tried to work out one of my clients, by the way, and how to say her name properly. I feel really bad about that too. One of the things about what's happening right now on the planet is we are in a time space that is relatively new, as in we have never been here at this place before in the history of humanity, and that means that we are in a space where we've got the opportunity for absolutely brand new information, brand new connection to ourselves, to others, and there's the opportunity for us as a collective, as a humanity, to move into a higher frequency and with Gaia, right, with the planet, as we move into as we move into this place where we are connected with divinity, with our higher selves, and completely creating and co-creating with the earth, the planet Earth, and others, but also with light beings, with people that, or energies and beings that may not be of the earth, that are just waiting for us to come into that place where we're connected with our heart center, where we're coming from a fifth dimensional reality, and we're able to strip ourselves of the old parts, the judgments, the fears, the separation, all of those things, strip that out of our energetic fields, all that old karma, and move into a higher vibration where we are recognizing ourselves as one, connecting with our source energy, and co-creating with the multiverse, right? With not just the universe, but the multiverse. So this is a really important, integral time, and this is all about shifting our energies and being ready for this. And that means being connected to our intuition and being able to release any of the old stuff. So let's get into this. What is intuitive listening in the first place, right? This is when we're tuning into not just words, but the emotions, the energy, and the intention behind what's being said. So we're connecting in from an energetic point of view with what is being said by the person that's in front of us, right? We're not just listening with our ears, we're listening with our whole body. So we are finely tuned, we're present, we're connected, we're at one with the energy between us and the other person. And this is different to just listening, regular listening, because we're listening on a deeper level, right? We're understanding and we've got empathy for the person that's in front of us, and we're being able to connect from this new place where we are recognizing that actually we are more than just two people separate, that we are together and we're having a communion, right? We're having a connection between each other, right? Who here, and let's make this a conversation because I love having a conversation with you rather than just talking at you. Who here feels like they've had that experience where, have you had the experience of being really connected with someone on a deeper level and really feeling their heart? Because what this does in our reality is it enhances the emotional intimacy and the connection between the two partners, right? Between the two people. And it's helping with identifying the needs and concerns on the deeper level. What's really being said by the person that's in front of us? Because sometimes someone's talking, with words, but what their body, their emotions, and their energy is saying is a very different experience. They're saying something that's a lot deeper. And sometimes they're aware of it, and sometimes they're not. Sometimes they're in a space where they are having a challenge with being able to speak and feel transparent and vulnerable in front of somebody. They may have their own guard up. And so it's being able to hear underneath what's actually being said. And this builds trust, right? It fosters really like a sense of safety in the relationship. And it also reduces misunderstanding and miscommunication, because when you can really be present to somebody and what they're really saying and listen at that deeper core level, that's when the real juice of a relationship happens. That's when people come into your reality and they just feel safe. I get that a lot. I have a lot of people say, I just feel safe. I feel like I can tell you anything. All of those things are because I actually have, and this is an art, right? We haven't been taught how to do this. It's something that we need to develop and practice. And I have been doing that for, I would say, maybe 20 years that I've always been someone that doesn't, I love listening to people's experiences. I love listening to the journey that people have had. And so I tend to be, generally non-judgmental of what people, I'm human. There are things that in my life that I find a little bit hard to deal with, trafficking and stuff that's going on in the world, that really revs me up. But generally somebody else's experience of life, I really love listening and, feeling into what their journey was like. And so being able to sit and actively listen is very important to intuitive listening, because we tend to, when you're not, regular listening, often people are hearing what you're saying and they're already coming back with what they're deciding you're saying and coming back with what they're going to say back to you. So they're not actively listening, right? But when you can really sit and be present and mindfully connect with someone during a conversation, this is a place where people feel seen, heard, validated. They feel safe. They feel safe with you, right? So some of the ways to actually bring this about is to start paying attention to the non-verbal cues, like such as body language, facial expressions, and doing your best to sort of tap into your own energy, right? Actually sitting back into the space where you are being present. Be aware of your breath. Be aware when your mind might wander, and come back and listen deeply. Make eye contact. That's a really beautiful way to connect with someone, is make eye contact, right? Tune into your own emotional responses, and so that you can engage and understand the deeper meanings of what's actually happening. Because as we're connecting intuitively, what happens is two people's energies are actually merging. Okay, so when you're standing with someone, you may feel like your energy is here and their energy is there, like two different people. But what's happening in the middle is this merging, right? Where there's this connection. And that's the place that you want to be listening to, that in-between place. Because when you're in that energy of in-between, you're actually able to communicate and understand what someone's saying, because you're reading their energy and their deeper meaning through their energetic pathways, rather than just from what they're saying. Now, all of this comes in through really subtle body language, through the way they're interacting with you. Sometimes you can see in somebody when someone feels really deflated. People sort of know, right? If you're deflated, you're feeling like this. Your energy's low, your heart is often shrunk. You're protecting your heart in some way. When someone's like that, you can really tell, and you can experience that with them from an energetic point of view as well, right? Whereas if someone has just had, some sort of win, some sort of great result, or they're just a strong, empowered person, you can see that they're stronger in their connection. You can see that they're standing up straight, their chest and their heart is exposed, and their voice is also connected. Their voice is also got that empowered energy coming out of it, right? And they might be pretty chuffed with themselves with whatever's gone on, right? And that's another thing, allowing someone to celebrate themselves in whatever way, right? So it's gauging people's deeper meanings, but it's also reflecting back there and sort of even paraphrasing, right? So using listening techniques like paraphrasing, reflecting back the feelings that they may be expressing, even clarifying questions like, how does that make you feel? Like, start playing with asking them more questions about what they're actually talking about. If you don't understand, actually saying, hey, I don't quite understand what you're saying or where you're coming from. Can you say that again, or can you explain that in a different way so that I really get to know what you're talking about? Because I really want to understand you and hear what you've got to say. Have you had anyone ever do that for you? Has anyone ever sat and been present for you? I want you to think about it for a moment. Has anyone, let's pause for a moment, because this is what pause is all about. Let's just pause for a moment and really tune in. Have you ever had that experience for yourself where you have been present for someone? I see Irene has said yes to that. Or have you had someone be present to you as well? Where you have really connected in with someone and they've really deeply listened to you. I'd love for you to share in the chat if that's something that you've experienced. And if you're watching the replay, please put #replay so I know and can come back and chat with you as well. So how do we get to this place, right, where we're enhancing our intuitive listening? Some of the things that work really well is daily check-ins with whoever it is, whether it's your partner, whether it's your children, whether it's someone, that you love deeply, whether it's just a friend, right? Whoever it is, check in with them daily and really start practicing sitting deeply in your intuition, in your energy field, and connecting with them heart to heart, right? That's another beautiful way of doing this, is imagine a beautiful thread of energy between your heart and their heart is another way of, creating this practice so that you're getting better and better, and practice makes, everything more attuned, because then you can reflect and refine as you go along, right? The other part of this is really being able to deeply connect with your intuition, because if you're not someone that connects with yourself, if you haven't got that beautiful connection with your higher self, with your intuition in the first place, then connecting with somebody else through these methods is going to feel really awkward and uncomfortable, and you're going to go into that feeling of incapable and don't know what you're doing, and maybe be clumsy in the actual communication, because you're feeling like you're doing so many things at once instead of just listening. And then it can be quite awkward in the situation if you're I'm doing this and I'm doing that, and you're thinking about it rather than just tuning in and deeply connecting in. So meditation is a really beautiful way, mindfulness practices, to really become present to your own awareness. If you're been watching our group, we have a meditation bingo that you can jump in and grab. That's a little PDF with 9 different ways of meditating. And we're going to go through that over the month. We're just sort of warming up into this month. So if you haven't got the meditation bingo, just throw bingo into the comments and we can send you the PDF so that you can start practicing. And it's just different ways of having a bit of fun. Doing just a 5-minute meditation, right? Or 3 minutes, whatever you can manage throughout the month, just to start getting that little practice in. And becoming responsive to all of the things that you want to do in your life, and actually taking action with it. Because when you're connecting in, you're really taking into consideration yourself and your connection with your higher self, is those daily practices that make the big difference, right? So that you're actually building that relationship with your higher self. Is all about being calm and open-minded, and this happens also, and this is why in a normal day-to-day relationship, in a normal day-to-day conversation, you want to be practicing this as much as you can, because then what happens when you're having a difficult conversation, right? Something that's like a heated discussion. How do you create intuitive listening when you're in that space? Well, that's a good question, right? One of the things that I do is, well, first of all, you've really got to know yourself, like I was saying before. And you've got to clean up your own energy. If you've got judgments of yourself, if you've got judgments of others, if you don't feel safe energetically in your own alignment, then this is going to be a problem, right? Because when you're having difficult conversations, all of the old wiring just starts, you get really triggered. And so all the wiring from previous situations comes into play instantly, and next thing you're in, you could be in terror. I think I might have already put the story in here. I remember a time, my second eldest brother has got a real temper. He's not as bad these days. He's now in, they're both starting to get close to 60. I think my eldest brother is going to be 60 soon, this year actually. And so, their tempers have quite changed. But when I was growing up, that wasn't the case. They were very heated, wired men. And my brother, one of my brothers, used to be really, really aggressive and scary for me, right? And so when I was growing up, I was put into my room whenever the teenage boys were causing problems, and I was younger, so I was in my room and I could just hear it, like all the screaming and yelling and things being thrown at each other and jostling and all that sort of stuff. And it was really I don't know if it would have been better to actually see, because then I didn't have my imagination going into all the things that could possibly be going on. And so your neural pathways start wiring into terror in your body. So growing up, when I become an adult and I'm sort of, mother, and here I am doing all the things, doing the best to clear this stuff, I used to get triggered whenever he got aggressive. But as I started cleaning up my own energy field, feeling safety in my body, connecting to my higher self, really cleaning stuff up. And when I first started doing that, that was all through past life regression, which is a lot slower than recoding. Now I've got recoding and it's like super fast. But those things, when I first started, they work, right? And you get those results. And I remember this time when we had this moment. So something had happened previously with my brother. Actually, it wasn't with him. It was one of his friends. We were all at a beach. We'd gone to this island. So we'd gone there by boat. And me and my kids, I was a single mum. They were young. They were about 7 and 8. And they'd had a bit of trouble with this family's youngest daughter, only daughter. She was being a little shit, right, and wouldn't let them play with any of her toys and stuff. So they'd had some trouble the day before, and I told them, like, just spend time to yourself, blah blah blah. So my son was sitting close to the water and was playing just with shells and all that sort of stuff. And the mother walked down to called out to them to come and get sausages, right? And neither of them heard, her daughter and my son. And so she goes down halfway and screams at Curtis. And he hears and freaks out, and says, "Oh, don't want sausages." and she's like, "You should answer adults when they talk to you, right?" And I just froze. My neural pathways wired together. All of the challenging situations from when I was a child came in, and I just found myself not saying anything and feeling really confronted and terror in my body. So I didn't say anything. Anyway, the next day, my eldest brother and I have this conversation, and we have this great contemplation and reflection on what my childhood was like, and I got to share with him stuff that he didn't know. And it was this beautiful moment. I was a hippie at the time, right? So I'm like, I've just had this amazing moment. I'll never not stick up for my kids ever again. I feel like I'm a stronger woman. And I go to share that day at lunchtime with the family, because, I've just had this spiritual growth, and I think everyone wants to know about it. Which wasn't the case. And my brother, my other brother, Martin, lost the plot absolutely and started screaming at me in my face, like this far away, hand up, red raw, going off at me, how bad my children were, that they didn't play with so-and-so, and this is my friend. And I didn't even get the chance to say anything. But what was really interesting, and I know that this isn't the art of listening, well, it actually is, because what happened was because I had cleaned up a lot of the stuff within my own energy field, and I'd done it very quickly, I just stood there like looking at him. How did this rage come out of him so, with such short sentence? I hadn't even finished saying what I was saying. And as he's going off on, and I'm looking at this, man that's 6 years older than me, not being able to control his emotions, I'm standing there and I'm totally aware that the rage is pent up from a whole heap of stuff from his childhood all the way through to not feeling seen, heard, and validated in some way of his own from me and maybe even my family, right? And so it didn't affect me. Now that's really intense. That's an intense experience, right? And I'm not saying that, they're the sort of everyday conflicting or confronting discussions that you want to have. But when you're in a place where you're having a difficult conversation, and someone might be feeling quite angry and not heard and seen, when you're coming from intuitive listening, you're actually seeing all of that. You're feeling it. You're connecting in with someone that is feeling very powerless. And when you can clean up your own energy field, where you can sit and really deeply listen to them, what ended up happening, because I was not responding, he actually started calming down, which actually he found quite uncomfortable as well, because I wasn't responding the way I normally would and how everybody else does, right? So then he didn't know how to deal with the situation. That sort of thing doesn't happen between us anymore, because him and I have a deeper connection, because he's now seen that I'm hearing him. He's now seeing that I connect with him and his children. He's got a different relationship because he's now feeling seen, heard, and validated from me. And so there is a different connection now. And so when he was having trouble in his relationship, in his marriage, who did he ring? Of all the people, he rang me to vent and to let loose. He even asked if he could come and stay at my house for a while. These are the things that can happen when you can really connect with yourself and deeply listen to somebody, even in those difficult conversations. These are the relationships and the bonding that can happen between two people, right? You can outwit all of the dysfunction and the brokenness, and all of those things can be completely shifted when you can really sit in your intuitive, empowered self. And that's what it's about, is to be a magical woman, is to really be able to own yourself and who you are and that empowered energy, so that you're sitting in that energy when somebody's talking to you, when you're connecting with, the teller at the bank, if you go there, or the, grocery store assistant, or whatever it might be, the person in the street. When you're in this energetic field, you're in control of your environment. And so you can be in that beautiful space where you're actually listening and allowing someone to feel to encourage someone to feel honest and feel vulnerable, and to have that deeper connection because they trust you and they feel safe with you, right? So intuition is, and intuitive listening can completely transform communication. And it can really strengthen like this emotional bond between two people, right? The more you connect with this, the more you can self-reflect and refine your intuition, the more you, and clean the stuff up that's in the background, right? The more you can have this really deep understanding and connection between everyone, because that's when we move into, we're separate, we're broken, into we are actually this beautiful consciousness all having this magical experience together, right? Now, if you're someone that goes, holy crap, how do I get to that place, right? How do I get to a place where I can let go of all that stuff that's holding me back, the things that make me judge myself, let alone anyone else, the things that hold me in separation and make me feel broken and not worthy and not good enough? How do I clear that stuff up so that I can actually hear myself even more and really connecting with your higher self, your intuitive nature, so that you can be in this flow in a relationship? There are different ways of doing that, and one of the things is part of our September birthday. This is our 5th anniversary. Is that we are holding our first, well, it's the first in a long time, a 7-day, it's called Child of the New Moon. It's a really beautiful process that we're going to go in layers of really connecting in to our intuition and working out, first of all, how are you intuitive? How is it that you connect with your higher self and your guides? Because we all do it a little bit differently. There's different techniques and different ways. We're going to be doing practices so that we can fully engage and connect with that higher self and that wisdom. And then start playing around with doing some reflection and, you know, some techniques where we're being able to read other people. We're going to play around with some practical steps as well. So it's a beautiful community. There's about 11 women in there so far. It's going to really help you deepen that next level of relationship with self, relationship with higher self. So then you've got this beautiful relationship with those around you and what you're doing in your life, because you're getting the guidance from your higher self, right? So that's on at the end of the month. Don't know the dates. Irene might be able to share. I think it's an hour once a day, and it's going to be live streamed into a Facebook group. So if you miss the replay, you know, you can watch the replays. You get a week afterwards to access it as well. So it's going to be a really beautiful, deep layer of connecting and doing all the beautiful, fun things as well. So if that's something that you want to know more about, just throw in Child of the New Moon or just New Moon, and we'll be able to send you the link, and you can have a look at all the things, because I'm sure I'm not sharing all of it on here. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. Connect in with some beautiful people. See September 29th to October 5th. See if you can start just playing with this, right? And connecting in and tuning into those that are around you and listen at that deeper level. Connecting with their heart and their heart, and just see how it all plays out. Take care.